All right, welcome back, everyone. We apologize for the technical difficulties. We got that all sorted out. So for those of you that are just logging on, my name is Vinny. I am one of the missions counselors here in the Office of Admissions. We're excited to bring you yet again another installment of RAM Chat. And tonight we'll be discussing housing and dining on campus here at CSU. We know this is a very popular topic, especially for our admitted students that are out there. We recognize moving away from campus is it's a transition, and we want to make sure that this is we can make it as smooth as possible here at Colorado State University. That is why we put together this panel tonight to help address your questions and discuss things that you want to know about living on campus and eating on campus. Before I let our panel introduce themselves, just want to let you all know that we will do our best to answer your questions that you are asking us. And you can also submit your questions through our admissions website at admissions.colostate.edu/ramchat. You can also tweet at us using the hashtag ramchat. And to be clear, any questions that we do not get to tonight, we will follow up with an email, so we'll get those answered for you within 2 to 3 days, 5 days at the max. But now I'll turn it over to our panel to introduce themselves. So take it away, panel.
Good evening, everybody. My name is John Malsa. I'm an assistant director in the Office of Residence Life. I work with our assignments and operations areas. I'm coming to you from the Laurel Village Pavilion, one of our newer facilities here on campus. Features a number of environmental and sustainable features throughout the community. We'd love to answer any questions you might have about the application process, assignments, roommates, the wait list, all of that good stuff. And I look forward to answering any of your questions throughout the evening.
Hi everyone, this is Brittany Stewart from Dining Services, which is part of Housing and Dining Services. I'm here at Durrell Center, which is one of our dining centers on campus. I'm the Nutrition and Wellness Programs Manager for Dining Services, but I can answer any questions you have specific to your Dining Services meal plan, special dietary needs, menus, just about anything like that. So.
Hi. My name is Liz. I'm an RA in Laurel Village Hall. Right now we are all sitting in the lobby of Westfall, which is another one of our residence halls. This is my second year being an RA, so I'm pretty familiar with residence halls. I'm studying HDFS, and that's about it.
Hello everybody, my name is Cody. I'm a fourth-year student studying business marketing. I am an admissions, so I give tours. I've been a part of the living learning communities in some of the halls, and again, I'm a current student.
Hi, I'm Juliet. I'm a fourth-year student studying psychology and communications. This is my fourth year living on campus. I lived in Durward for 3 years, and now I live in the new hall, Alpine. I'm serving as the Residence Hall Association president, which is kind of like student council for people living on campus.
All right, so we'll start off with our first round of questions. This one we'll direct towards John, start things off. So we actually have 2 different questions that are very similar from 2 different students. So Eric and Tristan want to know, how do I start the process of selecting housing and signing up for classes? And also, how can I find out about options and prices of housing on campus?
Great questions. I'm afraid I can only do a little bit with regard to how to getting signed up for classes. I think our good friends in admissions can help with that. But for assignments and housing, you're really going to want to start in the same place for both of those questions. Really encourage folks to visit our website, review all the different housing options that are available. You're welcome to contact our office to ask any specific questions you might have. But the website really can walk you through a lot of the different things that our halls have to offer with regard to our learning communities, amenities and features of each building, a really cool map that shows the location of each building, as you might be interested in those, some of that information. And then it's through our website as well that you would actually click on the rates and applications page and begin the process of filling out your application to live on campus for next year.
Awesome. Thank you, John. The next question comes to us from Kiana. Do you have to have a meal plan if you live on campus? I think this question can be directed towards Brittany.
Yeah, so you do have to have a meal plan if you live on campus. It's part of that first year requirement that CSU has. But it's really a great thing. Most students are so surprised and so happy that they can just go down to the dining centers and eat and not have to cook or clean up or any of that stuff. There's no dishes or grocery shopping or any of that stuff. But luckily we have 4 different weekly meal plans to choose from, so it really, you can personalize it and individualize it to what your specific schedule is and your needs and all kinds of stuff. So we try to be flexible.
Awesome. Thank you, Brittany. Our next question comes to us from Blake. He would like to know what sort of activities are available in the residence halls. I think our students can take that one.
So there's a lot of leadership opportunities on campus for sure for people living in the halls. We have, so the RHA is for students who are a little bit more interested in learning about student government. It's kind of a springboard for ASCSU, which is our larger campus student government. We also have honor societies for people who are specifically living on campus. In terms of just everyday involvement and activity, there's a lot built into the residence halls that makes it super homey, and also like there's ping pong tables and pool tables in almost every hall, or at least a community center near every hall that has all of those amenities, TVs and lounges where you can hang out with your fellow residents. Mm-hmm.
Awesome, thank you. So our next question comes to us from Kirsten. I guess this would be directed towards John, but is there a list of things that we should bring or can't bring into the residence halls?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. Again, our website's a great resource, and also as students, as the assignment process moves forward, we will, over the summer, communicate out to students the move-in guide, which provides a whole lot of information, including tips on things to bring, not to bring. It links to some of the policies and procedures on our website that provides additional information about what is permissible in the residence halls. One piece of advice I guess I would share, and maybe some of the students can weigh in on this too, is don't try to recreate everything from home. I think sometimes students get tempted by some of the marketing and advertising that's out there and says, oh, you need these really cool little containers, and you need this drawer organizer, and you need this closet thing, and you need a rug, and you need all this kind of stuff. There's plenty of time for you when you get to campus to figure out what is it that you really need to be comfortable and happy in your room. One of the events during RAM Welcome, those first few days after the halls open, is Target Night, where students get to go take buses and sort of have an exclusive shopping opportunity at Target with a bunch of their neighbors and friends. So there's plenty of time and opportunity for students to pick things up. So I'd say pack light, take it easy. Don't feel compelled to buy lots of stuff as you come in, and our website is going to be helpful with additional details.
Yeah, so as an RA, that's something we have to focus on when you all move in. So just quick things that I think I've seen students bring into the halls that you aren't really allowed to have are candles. Even if they're just for looks, those absolutely really aren't tolerated. Weapons aren't allowed. You're not allowed to have a blade longer than 3 or 4 inches, so just make sure you're not bringing any of that onto campus. A lot of people like to bring wall decorations like large tapestries. We do have requirements of how much of the wall you can have covered, so just make sure that basically you wouldn't be covering more than one side of a wall in a 4-walled room. That's kind of our limitation. And then if you are going to do just holiday lights or anything like that, make sure that the tag says they're UL listed, because if not, then that's against fire code and we can't have that. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just want to kind of echo what John is saying about not feeling like you need to have everything right as you move in, because you definitely accumulate stuff. There's lots of programs and events throughout the first semester that are focused around creating things and making door decorations and things like that that can make it feel more homey, and so it doesn't have to look like a catalog room.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you all for answering that question. So the next question is I guess be directed towards John again. But it's a two-part question, a question from both Eric and Kirsten. So Eric wants to know, what are the housing options for transfer students? And then Kirsten wants to know, are there halls specifically for freshmen, or are there halls specifically for upperclassmen?
So for transfer students, we actually have two communities that are specifically set aside for students who are transferring into the university. There's a transfer community in Braden Hall and a transfer community in Allison Hall. Both offer different room types and different locations on campus, which when we've talked to transfer students in the last couple of years, they've really appreciated having some flexibility. We definitely acknowledge that transfer students coming in are in a unique position in that you may be new to CSU and so still have some of the same transition questions that other new students would have, while at the same time you've got experience. You've lived on campus perhaps, you've taken college classes, you've navigated the college experience at least for perhaps a semester or two. Being able to live in an environment with other transfer students who've gone through some similar experiences, we've gotten really positive feedback from students who've enjoyed being able to share in the new experiences and the experiences they have brought with them from the schools where they've transferred from. As far as halls that are designated for first-year students or returning students, because of the first-year live-on requirement that students are live in the residence halls on campus for their first 2 consecutive semesters, the bulk of our halls, most of our halls, have first-year students. There isn't anything that's specifically designated first-year students only, but certainly with so many first-year students living on campus, there's lots of halls where first-year students are living. Despite the first-year live-on requirement, we do have lots of space for returning and transfer students. So it's pretty early to start thinking ahead to where you might want to live in your second year or third year, but do think about the residence halls. We have worked with our students, again, getting feedback from them as to where would you like to live? What would be something you would want from the residence hall experience if you were to choose to come back for another year? So we do have some portions of some of our communities. Laurel Village has a fairly high concentration of returning students. Academic Village in Aspen Hall has a fairly high concentration of returning students. Summit Hall has some as well, but there's first-year students in those communities as well. So really trying to offer a variety of options for students, offer flexibility so that students can self-identify, this is something I want from my living experience, and we do try to make that available to them.
Awesome, thank you, John. This question can be directed towards Brittany. So Mackenzie and Jake want to know, if I am gluten-free, what are the resources for students with dietary restrictions?
Yeah, so we have 6 dining centers on campus, and all of our dining centers are able to accommodate students who have a variety of special dietary needs. Specifically, if we're speaking about gluten, we have a gluten-free bakery on campus that makes a variety of baked goods, so muffins, brownies, cookies, bread, cupcakes, all kinds of really awesome, yummy stuff. And that's part of the meal plan. When you come in and eat, it's there and available to you. And then in the fall, we're going to have gluten-free zones in all of our dining centers. We have them in 2 currently, but we're expanding to all of the dining centers. And basically, those areas are for students who have celiac disease or really specific gluten intolerance where they can't eat any at all. Those foods are made separate with no cross-contact, so students just can come in and grab foods and not have to worry about it. But we also have a number of naturally gluten-free foods that we serve, and we do label them gluten-free, and our staff is trained to help students whatever their need is, be it a dairy allergy, a nut allergy. If you're vegan and vegetarian, we label all of that stuff. So we're really transparent so that students, when they come in, they can just look at what they're looking for, look at the labels, look at the information we give them, and then make their own choices. And then we're there to help if they can't find something. So.
Awesome, thank you, Brittany. So our next question comes to us from Alexis, and this will be directed towards students. And Alexis would like to know, should I live in the academic key community?
All right, so I've actually had experience with the Key communities. I was a member of Key Explore. Living on campus and living in a living learning community is a really special thing to be a part of, because you're living with people in a hall that share some type of interest or ability or something in common, that when you come to campus, it seems that you already are best friends with the people that you're living with, which is really special. The Key academic community is really nice because everybody who lives in there is focused on academics and has that as a priority and a value in their lives. So living with people who share those similar values is really helpful. But the main advantage that I got out of living in a Key community is simply the community part of it. You get very close to those people because most of the time you'll actually be taking a class with the same people. So it's very nice to get close to each other, and it was nice just to have friends, 20 friends right off the bat.
Awesome. Thank you, Cody. So our next question would be for John. It comes from LD Williams. Is there a curfew or a time the dorms are inaccessible?
All of our residence halls have 24/7 visitation, so students are allowed to come and go. Their guests are allowed to come and go as long as they are escorted by the student any hour of the day. We do have 24/7 desks in all of our communities that do help provide some monitoring of the electronic lock system for all of our halls, as well as observing students as they're coming and going from the main entries and lobby areas. So we really rely on and trust students to manage the decisions they make about the hours they keep and the guests that they have themselves, and in consultation with their roommate. We do indicate in our policies that roommates need to agree about having guests in the room, and then our staff, the RAs in particular, are there to help assist with those conversations if needed, to help intervene if there's concerns and problems, and certainly respond to any questions that may come their way.
Awesome, thank you, John. So this next question will be directed towards our RAs. So Everton would like to know, what is the laundry situation?
Yeah, so laundry looks a little different in each hall. Most of the halls will have laundry in the basement of one side of the building, so depending on what side, it'll be a little more convenient. If you live in Laurel Village, there is a laundry room on each floor, so that is definitely a perk of living in LV. You don't have to walk as far. You might have to walk across the hallway, but really, it's also easy to do. You just use RAM Cash, so you're not going to have to get coins. You're not going to have to do any of that. And for the most part, with the exception of a few busy times on weekends, there's not much competition for laundry, so it is easy to get it done. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. So our next question would be directed towards John. Everton would like to know, how soon are room assignments made?
Yeah, so room assignments started just a couple of weeks ago with students being notified of their hall or learning community placement. So we assigned a considerable chunk, about 2,800 students got their assignment information about 2 weeks ago, and then it's on a rolling basis thereafter. So every few weeks we review any cancellations or changes that may have come in, and then begin another round of assignments. We do try to get to as many applications as possible with each round of assignments, but it's good to be patient along the way. As I mentioned, that we do look for cancellations and changes. Those cancellations and changes give us an opportunity perhaps to assign students to a higher preference from their application. On the application, you get to give us your top 5 places you'd like to live, and we really try our best to give you one of those top 5. So we take our time. We're patient with the assignments process in hopes that as each application comes up, we can give it a thorough review and do our best to get you one of those top 5 preferences. On occasion, we're not able to do so, but that's okay. We will still provide you a room assignment. We guarantee space for all of our first-year incoming students. And then as the assignment process goes on, should you wish to change your assignment, if you are perhaps a little bummed out that we didn't give you one of your top 5, or your interests have changed, you've learned more about a learning community like Key that was mentioned earlier, or the leadership development community, or the engineering community, the list goes on, you can contact our office because we have a wait list that will run through into the early part of July. So there's still a good few months left for that. So as those assignment notifications go out, we hope that's a lot of really good news for most students. But if it's something that's a little bit of a letdown, we have a process for that as well. So the wait list is up and running. Students have gotten on the wait list already, and we'll be happy to take any further requests as the assignment process marches on.
Awesome, thank you, John. So this next question can be directed towards our students. So Michael would like to know what types of learning communities exist on campus, specifically for ROTC.
Hi. So I lived on the leadership development community my first year, and actually was the mentor for it my second year. And every single year that I have been here, there's been students who are in ROTC on that floor. It's a really big collection of lots of different kinds of leaders and different kinds of students and backgrounds and what they're involved in. So it's not specifically catered to students in ROTC, but I could definitely see them valuing that floor because it's a lot of that interpersonal leadership development work in a lot of different areas and ways. And so in general, it was just really fun to live on that floor because as Cody was saying, you just automatically have all these friends, and I still talk to them today. It's been 4 years since we lived on a floor together, but we still keep in touch, and doing that learning together and growing together in your first year when things are really new was a really good support system to have.
And in addition to the leadership and key halls, we also have honors halls. We have halls for engineering, natural resources. The hall that we're in right now, Westfall, has an international population here, so there's a lot of different living learning communities available, and the best place to find out about all of them is online. Just kind of research what do you like to do, who do you like to hang out with, and hopefully find a fit for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think there's even one for art. There's Living Substance Free, so if that's something you value, then you can find a community for that. I'm the an RA in Laurel Village, and our whole building, Pinion Hall, is CNS students, so that's all College of Natural Sciences. So you only have biology, chemistry, psychology, the list goes on a little bit, majors, but that's super nice for them, I know, because they can all do their homework together. They're in the same classes for the most part, so definitely a benefit to living in a community, and I think, yeah, leadership goes hand in hand with ROTC. So.
Awesome, thank you all. So our next question is directed towards Brittany. So Richard would like to know, what would you suggest for selecting a meal plan? I am between a 14 or 21.
Yeah, you know, our most popular meal plan is definitely the NE14, which provides about, 2 meals a day for 7 days a week. But if the great thing is once you get here, if you start out with the NE14, you can always increase to NE21 if you feel like you're eating 3 meals, or you're eating a meal and then taking one to go, or you're getting a late night snack and that's kind of your 3rd meal of the day. So you can always increase. We always tell people that they're not sure to kind of start off with the middle one, the NE14, and then increase from there. We do allow 2 weeks for students to decrease down, so if you are thinking that you have a job off campus where you get to eat there some of your meals, so you're not eating in the dining centers as much as you thought, you could go down to the NE10. But you have to do that within the first 2 weeks, but you can always increase it. And we also have a any meal anytime for the people who stay up really late, who eat a lot. Our athletes, a lot of them have that one. They have to eat a ton of calories, and so you can come in and eat at all the different venues all the time, to go, sit in, and always be fed, and there's always food available. So.
Awesome, thank you, Brittany. So our next question comes to us from a few parents who've asked so far, but this will be directed towards John. Have most housing options filled up?
So that's a little bit of a trick question. We do have some halls that currently are full, but with cancellations and changes that are still underway, we're optimistic that we're going to have a lot of movement around in our residence halls. Just today, actually tonight, we'll be wrapping up our current student room selection process, which, as I mentioned earlier, students looking ahead to their second or third year at CSU might be considering living on campus for more than their first year. The process for our current students to sign up to live in the residence halls will be wrapping up today. And with that step in the process, we know that other changes are going to be coming as students' plans change. So certainly there are halls that are full at the moment, but we have more than enough space to accommodate the demand. So that's a great place where the wait list comes in, where we encourage students to still make their preferences if they haven't completed their application yet, to complete the preferences based on what they want, what they think is going to be the best living environment for them for next year, and then give that over to us and let us do the work that we need to do to try to make that match to place you in the community that hopefully is one of your preferences and is available. And as we've talked about a couple of times here this evening, take a look at those learning communities. Those might be great options, great resources for students to really connect with a community that is meaningful to them. Some of those learning communities do have supplemental applications, and so students who are willing to tell a little bit of their story as to why they'd like to live in those communities may get a little bit better chance at living in something that is a higher preference for them, and will also provide them a really great living experience. So yes, some of our halls are currently full, but no, I don't anticipate that they're going to stay full, as the assignments process still has a long way to go before we open up on August 20th.
Awesome, thank you, John. Appreciate that. So this next question can be directed towards our students. So Natalie would like to know, is living in the dorms really as scary as it seems?
I can do it. No, absolutely not. Definitely, probably scary the first few weeks, but I've lived there 3 years. I know, how long have you lived there, Juliet? 4 years. It's something you have to adjust to, and then once you get used to it, I think there's no experience like it, and I really haven't met any people who have absolutely not liked it at all. You're living next to people who are probably your really good friends. You're living right on campus, right next to class. There's always stuff to do, it seems. I think it's great. I mean, community bathrooms, that's something that intimidates people, but I think you'll find that there's just something special about brushing your teeth next to some girls you don't know or some guys you don't know. It builds friendships, so no, I don't think it is.
Yeah, speaking personally, I'm an only child, and so I'd never shared space with another person and had other students like around me all the time. So that was definitely something to adjust to, and I actually kind of prefer it now. If I'm ever, up late and it's quiet, I'm like, what's wrong? Because it's a community. It's really welcoming and easy to get through pretty much anything because you're around people that can relate and can empathize and want to listen, and so it's definitely an adjustment, but I don't think it's scary at all. The reason why I've stayed around for so long is because it feels so comfortable for me now.
Yeah, the scariest thing I had going in was roommate, because I did a random roommate, and so I just filled out this little questionnaire and then got a name in the mail a couple months later, and we just began emailing a little bit and got to know each other through email, and then met day one, and now we've actually lived together off campus ever since. So it's been really great, and just meeting new people and having new experiences. It's really kind of that college feel in the halls, which is fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all for answering those questions. So our next question can be directed towards Brittany. Caitlin would like to know, can I eat at different dining centers?
Yeah, Caitlin, actually our meal plans are designed so that students travel around. So even if you live in Braden, you don't have to eat in Braden all the time. You can go to all the dining centers and try them all out. And we really encourage you to because they all have their own little niche. The Ramshorn, for example, one of our larger dining centers, has a Mongolian grill where you can make your own stir fry and watch it be cooked right in front of you. So, and that's the only dining center that has that. At Braden, we have the Ramwich. It's like an online sandwich ordering system that we just added sushi to. So you can make your sandwich online and then go pick it up at 12:30 the next day, and it'll be ready. Corbett has the Ram Shack, which is a specialty burger place, and Durrell has a number of different things. We make homemade gelato there. And then we have express locations as well. So if you don't have time to come in the dining centers and sit down and eat a meal, you can always go into the express locations and get food from your meal swipe and go on your way as well. So yeah, you can eat at any of the dining centers, and we're open from 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. every day.
Awesome, thank you, Brittany. So our next question can be directed towards John, as well as our students, so we both can kind of piggyback on that. So John would like to know, is there any cooking equipment allowed, such as hot plates? Also, Holly would like to know, are there kitchens in the halls for everyone to use?
Yeah. So I'll get that one started. So yes, there are some prohibited appliances. Anything with an open coil, so toaster oven, hot plate, just presents too great a fire risk for us, so we do ask students not to bring those kinds of devices. Students are allowed to have a microwave. There are some, like a water boiler, rice cooker appliances that are okay because it's all self-contained. As long as it's something that's relatively new, in good condition, you're only plugging an individual appliance into an outlet. You're not, putting a whole bunch of things plugged into the same outlet, drawing too much power. You're usually in pretty good shape. And there are kitchens. Every single one of our residence halls has at least one student kitchen. And our residence hall desks typically stock a pretty decent supply of cookware. So pots, pans, utensils, anything you might need to cook a fairly decent meal for yourselves. And we know a lot of students really enjoy that opportunity, again, just for a change of pace and something to do with their friends, to hang out. And so we've been adding more and more kitchens to our residence halls as we get new facilities and renovate facilities. So instead of just having one big kitchen, having multiple kitchens throughout, to really give that sense of students having a home away from home and the ability to cook some of those comforts of home foods for themselves.
Awesome, thank you, John. So this next question can be directed towards John for the first part, and for the second part, I'll kind of let our students kind of tackle that as well. So for the first part, Grant would like to know, to what extent was Ingersoll Hall remodeled? And then kind of for the second part, how long does it take to walk across from one side of campus to the other? I'll let the students kind of take part that part.
Yeah, so for Ingersoll Hall, a couple of years ago, we did all brand new windows and exteriors. We were able to significantly decrease the amount of heat loss during the winter and make the rooms much, much more comfortable for students. So for those that maybe have parents or family who are alums, we seem to have had a lot of parents and family that were alums who lived in Ingersoll at one point. When they've come to campus and seen the new exterior, they've been really kind of dazzled at how much nicer and newer the facility looks. On the inside, we're going to be renovating the center section this summer. We're hoping to actually get started here in just a couple of weeks. The center section is where the old dining center used to be, back when the model was to have smaller dining centers in each of the residence halls. That's not the way we operate these days, but we still had a really large space that was the dining room and the kitchen. So this summer we're going to be renovating both the upper and lower levels of that. Maintaining some large space for community programs. We want there to still be some place where the hall can host events that can hold a large number of students in the space, but also creating smaller spaces, study lounges, social lounges, game room areas for students to socialize and hang out. The kitchens that were mentioned a little bit ago, we'll be putting a brand new kitchen into the space. We're also hopeful to spend some time renovating the laundry rooms. As was mentioned by the students earlier, some of our halls may only have one laundry room, and it may be inconveniently located for some of our students who may have to travel a little bit further to get to it. We're optimistic that we'll be able to do some work to provide laundry on both sides of the building, the north and south. We really are excited for the new development and the new community space students are going to have in Ingersoll. I look forward to seeing it myself in August when it's all ready to go.
Yeah, and in terms of the length of the walk, the building and the campus in general is really contained in a pretty walkable area. I lived in the towers, which is probably the furthest you can get. Besides maybe Summit, they're pretty equal in terms of how far they are from the main academic buildings. And I usually only had to plan for about 10 minutes of a walk at the most, and I'd still be like early for class. And so it's pretty manageable. I actually kind of like having the walk to kind of have some time to myself and listen to music, and so I intentionally walk and don't ride my bike because of that. So I like being out there. It's also kind of nice if you're in a further residence hall, which if you visited campus, you probably know that even the furthest residence hall is pretty close to central campus. But if you are kind of in those further ones, there is also a new feature called Around the Horn, which is a bus system that kind of loops around campus. So if you are at LV or if you're at the towers and maybe it's snowing or you hurt your ankle or there's some reason that you don't want to make that walk, you can always just hop on there. It's completely free for students.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that question for us. So the next one will be directed towards Brittany. So Joe and Cindy would like to know, how do the weekly meal plans work? When do they reset?
Yeah, our weekly meal plans, what they do is they reset at 12:01 on Saturday. So by the end of Friday night at midnight will be the end of it, and then at 12:01 on Saturday is when it resets. And the meals don't roll over, so you get what you get for the week, and then you get the next week allotment on Saturday morning. So we really encourage students to really think about their meal plan so they can choose the one that's best for them. That way you're not wasting money or you're starving because you don't have enough meals. So always kind of take those first few weeks to kind of figure it out.
Awesome. Thank you, Brittany. So our next question can be directed towards John. So Dylan would like to know, is there a way to request suitemates?
Yes, there is a way to request suitemates. If there are 4 students that know that 2 of them want to be roommates and the other 2 would like to be in an adjoining suite, we ask that all 4 of those students contact our office, the Residence Life office. You can do that via phone, 970-491-4719, or email at residencelife, all one word, at colostate.edu. Our contact information is on our website as well. So that's how students can request to be suitemates. Certainly, before we can do so, we need to make sure that all 4 students are assigned to the same building to be able to match you. But then once that is the case, we can take it from there. For roommate matching, students have a couple of different ways to go about it. One, you can request folks via the application. You can actually put someone's name and CSU ID number on your application, and if it's a match, if it's a mutual request, and your applications were received at roughly the same time, and your preferences match, and you're assigned to the same building, we'll go ahead and make the match that way. There's also the Room Sync program. This is something we started last year. It's a Facebook app that connects students' Facebook profiles with our assignments process. It has some controls in there, so it's not viewing someone's entire Facebook profile, but rather information that students choose to disclose about some of their likes and dislikes and interests, some of the lifestyle information, how they feel about guests, how they feel about being up late or up early or study habits, etc. And through that, students have the choice, the option then to view other profiles of students who say you're assigned to Westfall Hall. You would have the opportunity to look at profiles of other students assigned to Westfall Hall, communicate with each other, send messages, and request each other as roommates. There's a little button that can be pushed to say, request this person as your roommate. That person gets a message and asks them, do you want to accept the request? If they say yes, the match is made. And so students have the opportunity to actually choose roommates for themselves. We're not able yet to use RoomSync to do the suite mate matching, but at least we can get you the opportunity to pick the person that you want to live with. And then if neither of those two options work out, maybe you didn't know about putting a roommate request on your application when you were filling it out. Maybe you're not interested in participating in RoomSync. You can still contact our office if you have someone in mind that you would like to request to be placed as your roommate, and we can manually enter that information. That student's going to need to contact our office as well, because again, it's really important that those roommate requests be mutual, that both people agree that they would like to live together. Those are the different routes we can go to make suite mate matches and roommate matches.
Awesome, thank you, John. So our next question can be directed towards our students. So Megan would like to know, how is the adjustment from having your own room to living with another person 24/7?
Yeah, so I think it's going to depend on your experience with living with other people. If you've had siblings or if you've lived alone, it might look a little different. Also, just depending on what type of room you have. Honestly, being an RA, I think that having had a roommate and watching people have roommates is one of the best and most growing experiences. You get to learn a lot about yourself. You get to learn about your own goofy quirks that maybe you didn't know that you did, and you learn about others. And then you also get to learn how to communicate well, of maybe, let's make a rule surrounding this. Let's make sure that we are behaving for each other. The adjustment was pretty quick for me. You kind of just feel like you have a good friend or acquaintance living with you. I don't know. What was your experience like?
To me, it felt like summer camp.
Yeah, it does feel like summer camp.
The whole half of the semester, I felt like I was just at camp for the summer or something, just because in my mind, I was going back home after a little bit, but once you kind of start getting involved on campus and going to class and solidify some of those friendships, like CSU starts feeling like home, and your room fills up with all your goodies that you get around campus as far as shirts and other swag. So you really make it your own, and you just kind of get comfortable that way.
Yeah, actually, my first year I took advantage of the corner rooms in the towers, and so it was kind of nice. I had my own space, and then I also shared space with my roommate. And so potentially, if you're a little bit nervous about jumping right into sharing, like sleeping 10 feet away from another person, then there's definitely some options for students who kind of want to ease more into it. Still want to be a part of a community, but there's single rooms, there's corner rooms that can still keep you connected to a floor and having those interactions, but you still get your own space.
Awesome, thank you. So our next question could be directed towards Brittany. So it's a two-part question. So John would like to know, so I've heard the freshman 15 can be a thing. Any advice? And then also Jake would like to know, what sort of healthy options are available in the dining halls?
Yeah, you know, it's common for students to gain weight or just kind of start unhealthy eating habits when they come to college. We've seen it a lot. It's more common in the fall semester, I think, than in the spring. You know, you have unlimited access to pizza and french fries and yummy desserts that are made on campus, and it's not something that you necessarily had at home. So I think people kind of have a free-for-all at first, but most people start to figure out that that's probably not the best idea, is to eat french fries and cupcakes every day for every meal. But we have a lot of resources in the dining centers and on campus to help students kind of work through that. I'm a registered dietitian, and so students can come and meet with me for free if you live on campus, and we can talk about your nutrition and your health goals. We also have a Eat Well at CSU program, which is a nutrition promotion program that gives you little tips about the food in the dining center and how to plan your day and your diet, and the right foods to choose more often and the ones you should indulge in only occasionally. And coming from a nutrition standpoint, I would say that we have a lot of healthy items in our dining centers. We have most of our food is made from scratch. It's whole ingredients. We buy really high quality foods. We don't buy grade D meat like some people think, or we don't add Pepto-Bismol to the soft serve machine, or any of those weird urban legends that people say about the dining centers. We want to serve really good food to people so that you guys can thrive academically. So we strive to do that. We employ chefs in all the dining centers, trained from culinary school. They come up with amazing things. I'm so happy to work here because I get to try everything that they get to make, so that's really fun. So, we have lots of healthy items, but of course, we're going to serve burgers and french fries and pizza because, people like that too. So it's really on the student to kind of find that balance and choose the healthy things more often, but we provide that education and resources so students can make those decisions.
Awesome. Thank you, Brittany. So our next question will be directed towards John. So Joel would like to know, if I live locally, do I have to live on campus? What is the process to request this?
So I mentioned the first year live-on requirement a bit ago, and there is an exemption process. It specifically does highlight a few criteria that students can qualify to be exempted from the live-on requirement. One of those is for students who are opting to live at home in the Fort Collins area with their parents or family. That information can be found on our website. You're welcome to contact our office with some additional questions as well. But we do encourage students, even those that live locally, to take the opportunity to live in the residence halls for all the benefits that they can provide, fostering and building new connections with your fellow students, having the opportunity to begin determining what it's going to be like to live a little more independently. But we definitely recognize that for some students and families, living at home is an option, and if they wish to do so, the exemption process is there.
Awesome. Thank you, John. So our next question will be directed to our RAs. So what exactly does an RA do, and how do I become one? Caitlin would like to know.
Yeah, so RAs, our job is all over the place. First and foremost, our job is to make sure that residents feel welcome and included in the community. Our job is, as soon as you get to campus, to try to plug you into things on campus that are going to just make you feel more at home. So if you like sports, we're going to send you to the rec. We're going to encourage you to do intramural sports, that sort of thing. Where our job is to help you succeed academically. So if you're struggling, we give resources. Basically, any sort of struggle you could encounter on a college campus, we're here to get you the help you need and just kind of be an encouragement and, positive person in your life to help you adjust to CSU because it is a great school, and I know my RA did wonders for me. We also do programming, so we put on events and various things, and those are super fun. We do bulletin boards, so basically just displaying different information about different topics that maybe you wouldn't have been exposed to before. And we also do community rounds. That's kind of the safety aspect of our job, where there will be 2 RAs on duty every night in a residence hall, and that just means that we're walking through the building, making sure that people are safe, making sure that no rules or policy are being broken. But that's probably the majority of our job. As far as becoming an RA, I would just say get involved in some sort of leadership opportunity. Hall Council is great for that. It's pretty much prep school for being an RA, but anything else too, just get involved on campus because we want to see people who are RAs having been involved. That way they can help get people plugged in and get other people involved in opportunities. Yeah.
I think a pretty common misconception is that RAs are there to like police you now that you're away from your parents, and that's just completely untrue. Even when they do their community walks, which is there for security, it's super casual. They're walking around and asking you about your day and things like that. They don't care when you're coming home or what, as long as you're being safe, what you're doing. They're not there to be in your business. They're there to keep the community safe and feeling welcoming.
Yeah. definitely. Mm-hmm.
Awesome, thank you. So our next question will be directed towards John. So Richard would like to know, what is the policy with living on campus during breaks? For instance, summer break, winter break, Thanksgiving break, spring break, all that. And do students have to move out? Is there secure storage on campus available?
Yeah, so we are a 365 operation. We have some housing option available all year round. Most students, are going to arrive in August for the start of the fall semester. There is fall break in late November, coinciding with the Thanksgiving holiday. Some of our residence halls do close during the fall break, but a number of them do stay open. We work with students who need to remain on campus to either stay in their rooms if they are here, if the hall that they live in will be open, or if they happen to live in a building that will be closed and need accommodations, we do have temporary spaces available. During the winter break, we have 2 halls that are open, Parmalee Hall and Westfall Hall. So for students that are looking ahead to what their housing needs might be throughout the full calendar year, Parmalee and Westfall are the 2 buildings that are open through the winter break. And then spring break is a lot like fall break, where about half of our buildings are open and the other half are closed. But in any case, we'll work with students whatever their needs may be. There is a cost for break housing. Students' regular room and board charges do not count the break periods. Those are omitted from the calculation. So if students have the ability or interest to travel, go home, etc. for the breaks, they're not being billed room and board when they're not here. And for those students who do want to stay or need to stay, there is the cost is there, and we think it's a pretty reasonable rate. This year it was $35 a day. That included RAM cash that you could use to purchase food in a number of campus vendor locations, including one of our dining services express locations at the Durrell Center. During the summer, we do transition to sort of a whole different set of housing processes. There's a separate application for the summer. There's Parmalee Hall is home to our summer school housing for this coming year. We don't see a lot of students living on campus for the summer, but we do like to make ourselves available. If students are going to take a 4-week, 8-week, or 12-week class, rather than trying to sublet off campus or find some other kind of off-campus apartment situation when they only need a few weeks, they're welcome to come and live with us. The summer housing applications are currently available for students who are looking to enroll in summer session classes and live on campus. For storage, each of our residence hall communities does have a student storage room available. So students that are living with us during the academic year, if they have some items, there are a few restrictions. Certainly nothing flammable, no like bicycles we don't allow to be stored in our storage room, but we get a lot of luggage, some appliances and things that students don't have some room for in their residence hall room, or their roommate brought one too and they don't want to have 2, whatever the case may be, that students are allowed to store items with us during the academic year. And then returning students who may be coming back to the halls for another year, we do allow them to store items with us over the summer. They can store items at the hall they're going to be living in for the fall, and there is no charge for storage. Students are allowed to store items with us at no additional cost. So that's a little perk that students have enjoyed being able to take advantage of.
Awesome, thank you, John. So our next question will be directed towards our current students here at CSU. So Zach would like to know, is it better to live with a longtime friend or to do a random roommate?
Yeah, so I really think that depends on your friendship. I have seen people do that. Again, I have been an RA for 2 years, so I have seen different scenarios and even just experiences with my own friends. Honestly, I would say if you want to play it safe, I would not suggest living with your friend, because living situations can get messy. And if they are your good friend and you are going to be spending a lot of time with them, then maybe you want to have a space where you are going to be separate from them. I have seen a few friendships deteriorate. I have seen some work out, but I've also seen most people who get randomly assigned or who choose someone, they get along really well with their roommate. And if not, then it's not as big of a sacrifice as if you are living with a friend. I would just say it's a good way to put a strain on a friendship. If you've been friends with them for a long time and you feel comfortable doing that, then yes, go for it. But I would say that I don't think it would affect your friendship negatively if you lived with someone random and just agreed to hang out and do homework together and that sort of thing. But
sometimes it's better to be separate too, because you can go to different halls. If you're living in different halls, you can visit each other in different spaces, which is nice sometimes to get a change of scenery.
Awesome, thank you. And this can be really open up to anyone who wants to answer, preferably the students first. But this is our last question, by the way. Running out of time here. But what's the single best thing about living on campus?
Hard question.
I've said it before, it's the community for me. Just being able to meet a bunch of different people all in the same stage of life that you are in, and coming from different backgrounds, same backgrounds, the diversity is huge. So having that community and building friendships was the best part for living on campus for me.
Yeah. I would just second that. I think a lot of people put a lot of weight into the building that you're in, and I think there's definitely something to be said about living in an RLC or living in a new building. But I worked in Newsom last year, which is the oldest open residence hall on campus, and my floor had such a tight community. They're all so close-knit that we never even thought about the building we lived in. So I definitely think the most important thing about living on is going to be the community that you experience. I know that RAs do a great job of fostering community, so you're probably going to experience that on any hall you live on. So that's what you can look forward to, just living with a bunch of great people, a bunch of great friends, and doing fun things. It's sweet.
Yeah, I think community has provided a lot for me. Socially, a lot of my really close friends now are people that I met at some point through the residence halls. Academically, also, it's really helpful for me to like step out of my room and get into a space where people are like focused in their studying. You're not going to find that everywhere in the residence halls, but there's definitely places, and you start to learn where to go that is the best for you as far as studying and doing homework goes. So it definitely has allowed me to stay focused in on my academics, as well as just develop as a person. Like you are faced with a lot of challenges in the halls, and just the way that you deal with those and the way that you work through those, I think help you grow as a person. And then again, like what has been said, I love stepping out of my room and the fact that there's people around and that I've made friends with my neighbors, and there's just always people.
Awesome. Thank you all for answering that question. So we'd like to thank you all for submitting your questions. And again, for questions that didn't get answered, we will do our best to answer those questions for you. We'll send those in the email response. Within 3 to 5 days, hopefully we'll work our best to get that done. If you'd like to kind of reference this in the future, to rewatch this broadcast, it'll be available on our Ramchat website, as well as on our YouTube channel, the Colorado State University YouTube channel. So I want to thank our students and our faculty, our staff here that took time out of their evening to hang out and do this broadcast with us. But and to all you admitted students out there, hope this this broadcast helped you out. Helped you all out through the process, and we're excited for you all as you go through this process, and we hope to see you here in the fall as Rams. So hope you all have a great evening. Take care and go Rams.